Hello everyone, it's me, it's PokemonTripHD. Welcome back to some more Dragalia Lost content and another edition of the Meta Talk series. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing the Stirring Shadows units, both Part 1 and Part 2. There were 3 new units released with this banner. I'm not going to talk about Heinwald or Curran, really, since they're, old news. This is new news. I say new news. It came out like a month ago, so it's been a while since this banner actually came out. I do want to apologize that there has been no Meta Talk video since then. Just been really busy, been streaming a lot on Twitch as well. This video is not, streaming onto Twitch first. This is just straight only YouTube. And I'm actually going to be uploading 4 other Meta Talk videos. So I'm going to be uploading a daily Meta Talk video from Wednesday, which is today, until Sunday, which is the 22nd. So 5 Meta Talk videos will be out within the span, every single day. In the morning, I'll release one of these. And yeah, so it's going to be 5 Meta Talk videos just to catch up on the units that I missed. And also as a sort of holiday celebration, since, the year will be ending soon. And I decided, hey, might as well just catch up in this way. This is a fun way to do it. So yeah. And yeah, so this episode I'm going to be talking about first Lathna, second Akasha, and third Hastur. Now, Hastur really doesn't have much to say, but I do just want to kind of briefly go over him. Just because, formality's sake, really, that's the main reason. Anyway, let's start off first with Lathna. Now, this DPS simulator will be linked in the description down below. There's a lot of things that it doesn't take into account, which it does talk about. But anyways, I'll mention those when we get to those. Anyways, let's discuss first with Lathna. So Lathna is a Shadow Lance unit. However, where is she on the DPS sim? She's not here. Where is she? Where is Lathna? Lathna is all the way down here. She's right there. There's Lathna with her Shinobi, Resounding Rendition, Jewels of the Sun. Now, there is something I need to note with this. I believe this calculator does not take into account poisoned foes because Lathna herself cannot inflict poison unless she shapeshifts. And of course, this calc does not take into account any shapeshifting damage as well. So there's a lot of things that this calc doesn't take into account. However, if she does shapeshift, I'm just going to calculate that her damage is 1.5 times higher than 7,000, which means her damage is going to be at around 10,000. So let's just say her DPS is at 10,000. At 10,000, where would she be? At 10,000, she would be up here with the likes of Natalie and a Yasu, even better than Botan, who buffs the entire team. That's where Lathna would be if an enemy is poisoned. However, like I said, let's just go over Lathna's set. So I have Lathna open up here on the Dragalia Lost wiki. Now Lathna, her skills, her skill 1 deals hits 3 to 7 hits, kind of like Ramona's skill, where if you tap more, you'll deal more hits. 158% shadow damage to the target and nearby enemies. Poison foes take the same amount of hits of 355% shadow damage instead. So if you're attacking a poison foe, you deal more than double the damage you would have, which is ridiculous. Now, the DPS, if you're running 7 hits at 158, is around 1100%, and 7 hits of 355% is a little over double that. It's a little over 2200. So I believe it's around 2400, 2500. So it's really insane damage off of a skill 1. That's like almost Ramona. I believe Ramona's skill 1 deals around 3000%. Don't quote me on that though, because I don't have her pulled up, so I don't know for sure. But I know her skill 1 deals insane damage, and this is pretty much up there with the best of the best DPS off of skill 1. And you couple that with an SP cost of only 2800. She is ridiculously good. You can get this skill off very fast and deals insane damage, mainly to poison foes. Even if you're not poisoned, you're still going to be doing good damage. 1100% shadow damage is nothing to laugh at. Now, her skill 2 is pretty simple. Deals 1 hit of 28% shadow damage to enemies directly ahead. Now, this is, again, an amazing modifier. These 2 modifiers on her skills are ridiculously strong. And honestly, these 2 modifiers basically carry her DPS. Like, if it wasn't for these modifiers, she would nowhere be as strong as she really is. Her core ability is normal, HP 15% as a lance, and her abilities. The Faceless God. When shapeshifting, Lathna will transform into Nyarlathotep regardless of what dragon she's equipped with. Grants an HP regen buff for 14% max HP every 3.9 seconds for 20 seconds each time she shapeshifts. Para-res is good for High Jupiter and Dragon Time, which again allows her to shapeshift even longer. Now, here's the thing. The Faceless God, there's no description on him, but when you do transform, you can inflict poison with your skill off of the Faceless God. So if you don't have a poison person on the team, of poison user, like a Delphi, who's also Shadow, you're going to want to transform to Shapeless God and or Faceless God, whatever, and then use your skill at the very end of your Dragon Time, so you don't waste poison time, because you don't get higher DPS when you're in Dragon form. You only get higher DPS off of her skill 1 when you're not in Dragon form. Now, this kind of sucks. That means you really want to just Dragon tank and skill with your Dragon. You really don't want to stay in Dragon form longer, which is, usually how Dragons are working anyways in High Dragons. However, you do have dragon time right here, which makes you stay in dragon form longer, which is again not good. These two abilities kind of just hinder her. If she had some sort of ability that allowed for like I meant poison, allowed for poison, she would be ridiculously good. But alas, she has to rely on outside sources to get a poison off, which is not reliable at all. Now, there's something to note that you're only going to get off one poison really in a match of like High Jupiter if you're using him for High Jupiter, which is where I'm kind of going to discuss her. Anyways, that's Lathna's kit. Now back to the DPS sim. Let's go down here because she's way down there without poison. Her best teammate is obviously going to be Delphi. Delphi is way up here. Delphi is ridiculously good with her because he brings a defense down and a poison onto the enemy, and his poison is actually very strong. So Delphi 100% would be one of the best units to bring with the Lathna, probably the best unit to bring with the Lathna, because again, poison ups your skill on DPS, and defense sounds also very good. Now, you're only going to really run those two when it comes to Mercurial Gauntlet. As for High Jupiter, you really don't use anybody besides Galacleo, which is, again, really big downside to Lathna. You really can't use her in High Jupiter because pubs really only want Galacleo. You know, Veronica sometimes works, Heinwald sometimes works, you know, sometimes there's other clears without those units, but for the meta in High Jupiter, you want to use a Galacleo, and that's, again, a big part of Lathna not being really usable, especially since, again, she doesn't have amazing DPS on her own. You can see, without poison on the enemy, her DPS is below Norwin and Alex, which is very low. But again, if you have poison, her DPS is up there with the likes of Eyasu and Natalie. Mainly Mercurial Gauntlet is where I see her being used, you know, alongside a teammate of Delphi. You can even use those two in off element, and they're both going to perform very, very well off element because, again, Delphi defense down and poison, whereas Lathna just has insane modifiers off her skills. So that's really where she shines Mercurial Gauntlet, whereas High Jupiter, she's really not useful. Now, that's kind of my analysis on her and what I think of her. Again, not really useful in High Jupiter. I believe I've tried with her in High Jupiter once or twice. I probably got it clear, but like overall, I would honestly not recommend you pull for Lathna or Dream Summon her, whatever you want to do. If you're planning on using her for High Jupiter, only for Mercurial Gauntlet. Again, if you've already cleared Mercurial Gauntlet, you don't need her. Again, there's so many great shadow units for Mercurial Gauntlet. There's Natalie and Eyasu. Duran is here now. As for wands, Galacleo is ridiculous. Botan is good. Sazanka is good. So many even great off-element picks, and there's a Delphi right there. So many great off-element picks as well. So there's so many strong Mercurial Gauntlet units that you probably don't even need specifically Lathna, though she will be very, very strong when it comes to Mercurial Gauntlet if you compare her with a Delphi. That's my analysis on Lathna. Now let's actually switch this over to wind units. Actually, I don't even think I need to switch it over to wind units because I'm pretty sure healers are not on the DPS sim, which is kind of a Pepe hands. But yeah, also in comparison, Lathna's competition is really just Botan at the moment. Would I use her over Botan? Honestly, I think I would use her over Botan in High Jupiter simply because she has full para-res already. And because her modifiers, again, if you can use her with a Delphi, if you can't use her with a Delphi, Botan is definitely better. As for Mercurial Gauntlet, again, if you have her with a Delphi, she's great. If not, Botan is going to be better. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If you have a Delphi, use her. If you don't use her. That's pretty much what it is. So now on to Wind. Let's talk about Akasha. Now, I want to say Akasha is not even on the DPS sim, which also I burped a bunch of times. That's a yike. Anyways, Akasha is not on the DPS sim, which, you know, kind of sucks. Healers are not there, which is a big Pepe hands. But let's just go over her kit. So her skill 1 restores HP to allies with 44% recovery potency and continues healing over the next 15 seconds with 35% recovery potency every 3 seconds. And that's a good healing skill. Again, recovery skills that heal over time are very, very strong. There's the best kinds of recovery skills. Her skill 2 creates a buff zone that lasts for 10 seconds and gradually fills the skill gauges of adventurers inside it. 420 SP regen every 1.5 seconds. This is a very, very strong skill. However, it is held back because of an SP cost of 20,000. That is a ridiculously high SP cost. You can check her abilities, skill prep, bog res, and HP healing. She has no way to charge this other than this skill prep at the very beginning of a match. You get 1 off at the beginning, and really in the course of like a high mercury match, you can only get it off maybe 1 or 2 more times, maybe. So it's a great skill that you just can't get off very often. It's kind of like Galyudan's skills. They're very good, but you don't get them off as much as you would want to because the SP cost is so high. Now, her competition as a healer is with Lowen. I don't have Lowen pulled up, but Lowen has very similar setups. However, instead of a regen skill 2, he has a so his skill 1 does not heal over time either. The wind version of Lowen. He has a defense buff on his skill 1 and an HP buff on his skill 2, both with flat out heals. Now, who is better as a strict healer? As a strict healer, I would say Lowen is better because he gives a defense up buff and he gives higher HP for your adventurers, which means you can take more hits and then he can heal with both of his skills rather than just one skill. Now, of course, your healing over time basically heals you until her next, the next reload is ready for this skill. But again, it's a big downside where your skill 2 doesn't heal and it takes so long to charge it that your skill 2 is pretty much useless. Now, she does heal a lot because, again, this HP 70, she has skill prep, etc., etc. She has a lot of things that are going for her. One of her best sprints is probably going to be like Sister's Day Out because it's going to let you charge this this skill 2 once again, which is, again, the big upside to having an Akasha on your team. So overall, again, if you have a Lowen, you really don't need Akasha. Even if you have an Akasha, there's really no content where she's, super useful in because you don't need a healer from High Mercury. You really don't. You'd rather use a Noelle ranged unit and then the Wedding Ellie heals. So you don't need an Akasha or a Lowen for High Mercury. Asha raids, of course, you do need them. And Akasha is very, very strong in Asha raids. But again, Lowen is still great because of his defense buff and HP buff. So there's honestly no reason for you to pull strictly for Akasha. However, if you have her, might as well throw her on the team over Lowen. But if you find yourself dying a lot, I would recommend trying out a Lowen because Lowen is, again, very good. And he's a 4-star, very readily obtainable, both in the permanent pool. Of course, both Lathna and Akasha are straight waifus. I mean, Lathna's a little lolly waifu, but Akasha is straight yandere waifu, and I love her so much. But again, she's just not amazing. She's good, but she's not amazing. She's not anything game-breaking or anything like that. Now, I want to talk about Hastur really quick. I just want to mention on DPSM, Hastur is not on any of these adventures, literally not a single one. So that lets you know how good Hastur is. If you don't know what Hastur does, basically, his skill deals damage and inflicts sleep for 3 to 8 seconds. And his abilities are Wind Strength plus 45% and Wind Prime Strength for 15%. So it's basically 60%. However, you have to remember it's not additive. It's not 45% plus 15%. It's 45% and then another 15%. So it's basically, say your strength is 100. It's not going to go up to 160. It's going to go up to 100 times 1.45 times 1.15. That's what your strength is going to be. So your strength will be at 166 rather than 160 when you have that prime strength activated. Now, this prime strength activates whenever your skill 1 is ready, but it does not activate for another 10 seconds afterwards. So basically, it buffs it for 10 seconds. Comes available freeze right there when to activating this. Okay, it doesn't activate for 15 seconds. Sorry, I said that wrong. Activates for 10 seconds, but then you have 5 seconds downtime. So overall, you're going to be about on par with the Zephyr, but in co-op play, 100%, you still use a Zephyr or a Vayu over. Vayu is 100% going to be better. And again, I do think a Zephyr is better since you constantly have that 60% rather than only 10 out of the 15 seconds if you play completely optimally, not getting your skill 1 ready for the next 15 seconds. So again, I would say Zephyr or Vayu better for co-op play. However, you could throw Hastur on your AI units for Mercurial Gauntlet, and his prime strength will activate on the adventure you're controlling, which is where Hastur's real strength is. Because it's going to buff your current unit controlling. He's basically a better rock if you're using him on your AI. Better rock, which is really, really strong. It's going to allow for higher DPS. You have a Victor you're controlling, put Hastur on like your AI, maybe not Noelle, I don't know, like a Zayndir or something that just came out. Put your AI on something else, put Hastur on something else on your AI, and then you can get your adventure you're controlling even stronger, and that's really where he shines. You got a Mercurial Gauntlet, another Mercurial Gauntlet unit. I feel like, again, Akasha also Mercurial Gauntlet. She's very good because you do need a healer for Mercurial Gauntlet over level 50, and Akasha is a healer who also allows for SP regen. So again, all 3 of these units I would say are Mercurial Gauntlet units and not really high dragon ready units. I would say honestly just use them for Mercurial Gauntlet and rather than not high dragon. So again, in the meta, are any of these really meta? No, none of these picks are meta, to be completely honest with you. But they're all really decent. Like, all 3 of these are decent adventures. Like they're all really solid. Akasha's great, Lathna's great, Hastur is good for your AI. So they're all solid just for Mercurial Gauntlet and not the high dragons. That's pretty much my analysis on these units. Again, let me know what you think on these units in the comment section down below. Do you disagree with anything I said? Do you agree? Please let me know. I make these videos as kind of a looking back and to see how correct was I when these units were announced. Honestly, with Lathna, I was a little wrong. I thought she would be trash. She's not trash. She's very good for Mercurial Gauntlet. Akasha, again, I thought Akasha would be a lot better than she actually is, so I was kind of disappointed with that, how she's not, super great. She's not even using High Mercury because, again, her SP skill 2 doesn't activate too often. And Hastur is pretty much how I predicted it. So those are my analysis on these units. Again, I'll be uploading a Meta Talk video every single day for the next 4 days as a sort of holiday special. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow morning's Meta Talk episode. Again, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have a great day, and until next time, have a nice trip.